It's good to see you. My name is Kevin Petrus. I'm proud to serve in the Central Division here at CMPD, which covers Uptown Charlotte and a little bit of South End as well. So back in 2022 and 2023, the Central Division had an initiative aimed at increasing officer visibility in Uptown, as well as reducing crime in the areas around the square and the transit center. That initiative was called Operation Heartbeat. Part of the structure of that effort was increased visibility of police officers by the means of using steady blue lights. Steady blue lights are also called cruise lights, and they're a function on our police vehicle that just activate a steady glow of blue over top and elsewhere around the vehicle. The goal, again, was to have a strong and heavy presence of officers in that area. Operation Heartbeat was a success, and it ultimately transformed into Operation Trio. Moving into present day, we often find that in speaking to community members, one of the biggest asks is that they want to see their police officers. Police visibility deters crime, and it helps people feel safe because it lets them know that police officers are there. We found that our residents and our visitors are more comfortable when a police officer is around, is visible, and is accessible as well. So what we've done recently is bring back Heartbeat, but we've adapted it to accomplish the goal mainly of increased visibility of our police officers. For the last couple weeks, the Central Division has been running their steady blue lights 24/7, all shifts, wherever they are, whether they're driving or whether they're stationary, whether they're in a parking lot or on the roadway, whether they're on a call for service or not on a call for service. They're operating these steady blue cruise lights to enhance their presence around the division. Now, Operation Heartbeat, or the Heartbeat Initiative, is expanding citywide. CMPD officers all around Charlotte will now run their steady cruise lights 24/7 in all 13 of our divisions across the city of Charlotte. Again, the goal of this change is to enhance visibility of our officers, using one of the best assets that we have, and that's our police vehicles and our blue lights, in order to help the people of Charlotte see their police officers and feel safe. One thing that we want our community to know is that when you see these steady blue lights, please know that everything's okay. Just because you see these steady blue lights does not mean that there's an emergency. There is a difference between the steady blue lights, or the cruise lights, and flashing blue lights, which are often accompanied by a siren, of course. If you see the steady blue lights, there's no need to stop and pull over. We're not trying to stop you. We're not trying to get you out of our way. If you see the flashing blue lights, that again might be accompanied by a siren, that's different. We do ask that if you see those flashing blue lights in the mirror behind you, to slowly and safely move to the right and stop your vehicle. And it could be that the officer is just trying to get by you, or it could be that they are stopping and contacting you for some other reason. So we do want you to be aware of those differences between the steady blue lights and the flashing blue lights. Any questions?
So they plan to run the steady blues all the time, even when driving on the roads?
Correct. Steady blue lights 24/7, all of our officers across the city.
Wow. Okay.
Is this something you guys took from just community input, or is this something you guys learned from other departments? Because I know in some states that officers do that pretty often.
Sure, it's a combination of both. I am aware of other cities, municipalities across the country that do this and that have done this for quite some time. But a lot of it is the community input as well. As one of the most consistent things, like I said, that we hear is that we want to see our police officers. Again, it helps people feel safe. It does. When they know that there's a police officer around, it gives them a certain sense of comfort. And what we want to do is we want to be able to deter crime, but we also want to give people peace of mind. And that's really the goal of this visibility.
You mentioned police vehicles. Does that include cruisers, motorcycles, anything else, or?
So our cruisers definitely have the capability for this. Our dual sport, the dirt bike, definitely have the capability of this. I'm not sure about the motorcycles themselves.
When you're talking about Operation Heartbeat was successful, how are you measuring that? What does that mean? Can you expand on that?
So again, the original Operation Heartbeat was Central Division specific, and even let's condense that down further around the square, around the transit center. That ran in 2022 and 2023. During those years between 2022 and 2023, there was a reduction in 2023 of violent crime in those areas. This is definitely with a twist. It's not the exact same thing. Again, one component of Operation Heartbeat was running those steady blue lights for visibility. What we're doing is we're taking that component of the initial Operation Heartbeat and then expanding that, kind of adapting it and then expanding it citywide.
And does that include any like extra man like power, or is it just whoever's working whenever they're working? This is what is just kind of happening.
Yeah, and that's what I think is one of the beautiful things about this. It doesn't cost us anything to do this, and it doesn't require any additional manpower. So we're not taking anyone from another part of the city and moving them around. These are your officers who are on patrol, the patrol officers who are already there, who are already doing their job. What we're doing is simply clicking a button in our car to enhance that visibility.
When are they going to start clicking that button?
It's immediately. We've been doing it for the last couple of weeks in the Central Division, and it's going citywide.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, so what made you guys expand to all 12 divisions?
Well, we realized the benefit of it. Our residents and our visitors in Central tell us these things that they want to see police, and we know that they're not unique. Those are not uniquely Central ideas. That's something that I would say all of our residents, all of our visitors, regardless of where they are in the city, want for us.
So there's no change in any crime number specifically that would be pointing towards wanting to do this in all divisions?
Correct.
How did you determine that it had an effect on reducing crime from this? Were there other factors as well, or how was it determined that this was like the most effective?
Are you talking about back to the original Operation Heartbeat?
Yeah, sorry.
So, there were different components of that, but again, one of those components was the visibility. So, when we look at, yes, there was that reduction for that initial Operation Heartbeat. I can't attribute all of that to a steady blue light, but I would venture a guess that that was part of it at least.
When you
And that
mentioned... No, go ahead.
The initial, the one that you did in 22-23, that was in Central Division?
Yes, ma'am.
That was for the whole, all of Central Division, so that nobody else had it before
Correct,
now?
that's correct.
Gotcha.
You mentioned there are other municipalities that do this. Do you know any off the top of your head?
I believe Washington, D.C. does this. I know some towns in South Carolina that I've seen do this, and this is something that our cars have had the capability to do, and you may have seen it here and there in the past here in Charlotte, but this is something that we're going to be more consistent with now.
Has it been as effective in DC and those other South Carolina towns as it's been in the Central Division?
I don't have any data for them, but again, big goal, big picture is we want our officers to be visible, and we hope that that deters crime, but we really want people to feel safe as well.
And there's no timeline on, like, we're gonna end this at this point, this is now gonna become just procedure going forward in perpetuity?
Yes, ma'am.
So I know visibility is important, obviously, but what does this also mean for like your undercover units who, do appear out in the public?
Sure. This is going to be for our marked police vehicles, and there, certainly will be times where if they're responding to certain types of calls for service where those lights might have to go off briefly. But again, that's the exception, not the rule. The rule for us right now is moving forward. We're going to be operating our steady blue lights on our marked police vehicles.
I know you mentioned that this came from community input. I know there was a survey mentioned last night in council about the feedback that's been coming in. Do you know when the survey was sent out and how community members would have received that?
I'm not aware of the survey, no. I'm sorry.
Okay, and then there was a mention of a survey that's going to be sent out from CMPD going forward about, the public sentiment and feeling. How will people have access to that? How will they receive that?
I don't have specific answers to that. A member of our public affairs unit could possibly follow up on that. But I can tell you, the other Central Division Command members, our officers, our community coordinators, we sit with people, residents, business people, visitors. We sit with them every single day, and we talk to them face to face. And these are the things that we hear from them, is that, hey, when I go outside and I walk my dog, I would really like it if I could see a police officer, because if I can see a police officer, then I am going to feel more safe. That's universally what we hear consistently every single day. And so we know that if we can add one little thing to try to accomplish that goal for that resident, for that visitor, then I think we're doing a good thing, and that's our goal here.
I don't want to be insensitive, but earlier this year, obviously, I did a horrific event on Galway Drive. Was there any thought when you guys were thinking about this policy that it might make your officers a bigger target when they're sitting out there with the lights on?
What we're talking about here is our marked police vehicles. They're pretty identifiable as they are. We don't want to create any risk, any additional risk for our officers. That's something that, you know, we're talking to them about. Again, there might be times where we have to shut these down while we're approaching something or going on something. So we're going to use some common sense and practice some good officer safety to avoid anything like that. Anything else? Good, very good. Thanks, Sean.
Oh, last thing, Kevin,